Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome on a Sunday morning, and we see a good number of participants early in the morning. Thank you very much. Welcome to this interesting series of webinars called Career Capsules, with today's focus specially on pharma alumni. I am Paresh Masade, founder and CEO of WOW. This session is brought to you by WOW in association with Johnson & Johnson. At WOW, we help institutions with alumni relations. Today's session is specially focused on pharma alumni, mainly the experienced professionals who aspire to be part of sales team at Johnson & Johnson. And it would be an insightful knowledge about the company, the sales domain, and also the steps that you take to basically be a part of our J&J team. Today we have a distinguished guest, Mr. Amit Koregaonkar, and from Janssen India, and Ms. Ripa Sardapal from Talent Acquisition team at J&J. Welcome, Ripa and Amit. Welcome to the session. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Paresh. Good morning, everybody. This is Ripa. I'm from Talent Acquisition team, HR team from Johnson & Johnson. It is very great to say that I have been in J&J, and I'm very proud to say as well that it's been 6 years since I have joined J&J. And today we would be sharing with you about what J&J is all about and what you can look for yourself in J&J. Basically, from a franchise manager Amit Koregaonkar, who's been in J&J since long time, and he would be sharing about J&J and his career journey and what it takes for you also to join J&J. So over to you, Amit.
Thank you, Wow, and Ripa. Thank you. I hope I am audible, Ripa.
Yes, Amit.
Okay, thank you. So at the outset, I would like to say thanks to Wow and Johnson & Johnson for providing this platform. I would also like to say thanks to all the attendees. Sunday specifically makes it more and more special. I intend to discuss about career through the glance of how did I grow in my professional career, and probably this will give us some amount of insights to all of you. So that's the objective with which we would like to move ahead. Before I share my screen and talk about some of the theoretical part of the talent and the career movement, I would also take a moment to talk about my overall journey. My name is Amit, and in current position, I work with Johnson & Johnson Janssen division, a pharmaceutical arm of Johnson & Johnson, as a franchise head. My career, if I need to talk about, it span over 20 years now. I have a varied experience in pharmaceutical diagnostics as well as in healthcare. I was lucky enough to have various roles in my capacity in last 2 decades, if I have to say that. I have a very vast exposure of a geographical sales experience to the tune that you can call it as all India exposure, and I will talk about it. So here is my overall profile looks like. I'm somebody who has a various experience in pharma, diagnostic, as well as in device. I also have a geographical experience, and as I said, I was lucky enough to have a various role in sales, project management, in marketing, and that's where probably I would say that I would now become a commercial head, where these experiences helped me significantly. So let me begin with sharing my screen. So probably what I thought is it is always important that you talk about theory part of it and also bring in your practical experiences coupled with the current challenges what you all experience, and some point of time even I have experienced them, and maybe how did I try to overcome is something which I would like to share as a dialogue. Let me share my screen, and do let me know once you see my screen, please.
Yes,
can
we
you
can
see my screen now?
Yes, we can see.
Yes, Amit.
Thank you. Okay. So once again, welcome for this presentation, and thank you very much for joining in time. I would like to talk about my professional journey at Johnson & Johnson first. As I said, I have overall experience of 20 years, and this is important. Why this is important is when I say that I have moved from a various role. My overall journey with Johnson & Johnson is around 7 years and 2 months to be very precise. And within this time frame, organization has provided various opportunities for me as such, in terms of providing and showcasing my skill, upgrading my skills. And I think that's where the organization culture comes into a picture. That's where the talent management comes to a picture. And I think I am very much thankful to Johnson and Johnson for being various reasons. And I think probably I will uncover that when we discuss further. I've started my career with Johnson and Johnson somewhere in July 2014 as an area business manager. While my job was not a conventional area business manager, I've been given a responsibility to form a new team, work very closely with the medical, HR, form a marketing a part, be a part of a forming marketing team, and then there are certain responsibilities which I also had as far as my family concern, and therefore I always preferred to be in the sales at that point of time. However, as you can see that sometime in 2018, I have moved from sales to marketing. This is a parallel move, which I did in 2018. After spending up 1 year in marketing, I have then moved into a regional sales manager, again a sales role in East. And subsequently, you are seeing that I have been moved as a national sales manager in September 2020. And finally, in 2021, I've taken a role as a franchise manager, where I lead a sales and marketing team. What I'm trying and saying here is that there are a couple of moves which moves vertically, and there are a couple of moves which goes parallelly. In today's context, it's all about the organization culture and the organization philosophy that the talent needs to be moved. However, as a talent, you also need to understand that you just cannot move vertically, right? And there are reasons why these horizontal plus vertical combined together approach will able to give you a much more varied experience. So as I spoke about, I am somebody who has a 20 years of experience. I have a wide geographical experience, and therefore, even while I have taken a regional sales manager role, I was very clear that East, my posting was in East, and that requires a lot of family support, right? Because you are consistently moving. So I've started my career with Johnson in Bangalore, come back to Mumbai, moved immediately into Kolkata, and then again come back to Mumbai. So these transitions are not easy, right? And therefore, your career always stands when your family stands with you. You can't see the career from an isolation point of view. And therefore, organization, specifically as I said, Johnson and Johnson is a house who has always given a lot in terms of a respect to the employee, a lot in terms of explaining to employee that how can they grow. We continue to speak about individual development plan, and I would say that I've been lucky enough to get a consistent coaching, consistent direction, consistent mentoring, which probably has helped me to look at the roles beyond a specific job function role, right? So be it sales, and sales comes with a marketing, and pharma as such is evolving significantly. I would talk about it in my subsequent slides, but what you can also take home is that while you work with some of the specific array, it is always good to look at what more can be achieved. And this is something which you can achieve if you can have a little presence of mind and start working on your skill part of it. We'll talk about it. So in this slide, I would like to talk about pharma and the sales career. So let me take you to 2 decades ago. When I started my career, there's nothing great comes up apart from for a sales team, right? Sales team member is to enter in pharma, keep thinking that he should work as an area sales manager, regional sales manager, then move sometime later after 10, 20 years as a national sales manager. And that's how the career there's only one line which need to be looked at. Now, as you see, there's a various line that's opened up as the pharmaceutical continue to evolve. And the role of sales team member is absolutely moving from a places to a places. Somebody comes in as a sales team manager, definitely can grow into a sales as a all India level. However, he also can be a somebody looking at his skills. If he can keep working on the self development, definitely with a various available resources, he can look into a product manager and then start looking into a marketing manager position. uh, sales team members with their acumen are already leading, and within Johnson and Johnson we see this. So this is not something which I wanted to talk to you from a pharma prospect and say that this is a pharma's practice and Johnson is different. Johnson is exactly what I have depicted here. You will find that a sales team member are a part of a business development and a strategy. You know that Salesforce effectiveness plays an extremely crucial role in terms of supporting the sales team, and commercial excellence becomes more and more valued in organizations. Some of the sales team members take a higher responsibilities in the commercial excellence space. We also see that the area business managers of a pharma moves into a learning and development manager because they knows the best on job field is somewhere they can get into their career further. As high as healthcare compliance, I think probably this might surprise some of you, but within Johnson's, we also had experienced people who came from a sales team and took a healthcare compliance job because they are somebody who knows the processes, right? They know the how do we organization wanted to churn certain things and wanted to move ahead with their values, and their experience comes very handy. uh, you by now know that the International Business Strategic Alliance keeps a very important space in pharmaceutical industry. Again, a sales team member can look about these positions, and nevertheless, there is another position which evolves as a distribution management channel manager. Now I understand that this is the entire horizon, and you can add some more arrows to it and say that digital marketing. I haven't put that for a reason here, but yes, digital marketing also comes into a picture. And if you are somebody who comes in with some specific skill set, over a period of time, you will definitely like to look into the opportunities it offers. Before I move into my next slide, uh, while it is good to know that pharma has evolved and there's a significant opportunities, I'm not very sure when we look about banking sector or when we look into the financial sector for that matter, or a FMCG sector for that matter, how many times you can come across an organization like Johnson and Johnson. The reason I say about Johnson and Johnson is it's an organization which has a pharmaceutical arm, which has a consumer arm, which has a device arm, and it's a big conglomerate who works together, right? And the great part with Johnson and Johnson is that you are open to travel across the streams, right? So somebody from pharma can move into consumer can move into the devices, and that's what we consistently see with Johnson in probably in last 7 to 8 years. The transitions pace has absolutely doubled, or I would say tripled up. And I think that those are the opportunities which as an individual, when you wanted to enter into a pharma industry, would like to grab from both the hands. While I will talk a bit about it, this is what I was talking about. There is an environment is changing across, right? And there are businesses which is getting evolved consistently. What we also see is that while we evolve, the entire pharma business has also been evolved. Pharma business no more restricted towards the sales and say that it's only sales. However, a person who comes into a sales can move, as I have shown you the opportunities in my previous slide. You also know that there are various advantages when you look into lattice pathways versus a ladder of progression. Ladder of progression always gives you a fixed set of positions or a growth, and it is increasingly difficult because the business today evolves with a less of a hierarchy. So what you will see is that the positions are limited. The people who compete for these positions are probably 1:10. Now it is 1:30 or 1:50. However, so does this mean that we are in a challenging situation? Absolutely not. There is something which is beautiful, which has happened over a period of, I would say, 6 7 years, if I can recollect how the pharma works. And that is where the horizontal and a vertical as a combination has started evolving, and it has a great relevance in professional career. The I would say attribute it gives to the employee and employer is that not only look into your promotions in a straight manner, you also try and capture maximum insights, maximum business understanding, business processes from a various standpoints of other divisions. Business, when we talk about, it's all about general management, and one specialty or a specific skill set will never able to take you to a greater heights. It requires you to correlate, work very closely with the different stakeholders, understand their perspective, and these opportunities helps you when you take a vertical progress in your life. And at times it strikes me when I say this, that I am mentoring some of the people as a part of my giving back to the society. And what I see consistently is that whenever these experiences come up, we get stuck up by saying that we have 8 years of experience. Why do I need to move at a parallel position? What will my life looks like after taking this parallel position? And I would try and subsequently talk about it. However, to me, this is a great opportunity, and you chart uncharted ways and start building your skill level, start showing your worth to a little ahead than what the job description you are supposed to do. I think this plays an extremely critical role, and pharma is no different than the other industries which currently do. In fact, I would go step ahead and say that pharma has a higher potential, as it touched the lives from a various standpoints. And therefore taking a single step at a one point will be a very crucial task, which as a sales career, as a sales person would like to take it. I spoke about opportunities. I spoke about a change in the environment which business looks for. From where this all will going to evolve is through your hard skill and through your soft skill. While it is good to have an aspiration in hand, your growth will be significantly depend on the skills you brought in, the attitude you bring in, and the stretch mentality you shows, right? And I did not to get into a definition of hard skill, but I would like to talk about, it's all about skill based approach in your career. If you wanted to move, the spending the years in the industry may not help any individual to a greater extent. I might have a 20 years of experience, but I can still learn from somebody who is as naive as 3 months or a year of experience, because that's where the Gen Z bring in, right? And therefore your skill level is something which you would like to keep working upon. I would also take a minute, while it's a theory, would like to share something on this. Sometime in my career, when I was moving into a various role, I have almost spent 5 to 6 years as an area business manager in sales. While I was very clear that I'm doing the things rightly and trying to understand various aspects of a sales, uh, many of the times people come to me and say that, don't you think that you spend a lot of time? Now the success measurement and career planning will be a different for a different individual. While I was spending a time, I was very clear that I am in a time zone where I need to equip myself for a better future tomorrow. And that is where I keep saying that if you are stuck with your same position, I think it's an opportunity that you build your capabilities for a next. The opportunity when it comes in, you wouldn't be like to, move somewhere and say that, okay, I don't possess the skills. Now what? Aspiration need to be coupled with your significant effort. And again, I will spend some time. Johnson and Johnson, probably in my life of last 7 years, has offered me a various opportunity. I have been trained by best minds. I've been in the one of some of the workshops where managing directors have shared their expectation, their experience, their journey, which help you to understand that how do you work as an entrepreneur while you are an employee, right? And probably if you really need to make a count, you need to also start looking into employment from the entrepreneur's lens. And I'm sure there are many questions: why should we do it, whether organization does that? But I can very well tell you that Johnson tries its level best to offer as much as possible support to their employees. I spoke about largely about the opportunities in the pharma. I spoke about how it is changing currently. It is important from a standpoint of a skill set, that what skills are actually helping uh, you to grow. And the reason why I put in this dashboard is that it is a consistently evolving space. So nothing will be a prefix. Nothing will remain. I am sure you can jot another 50 more skills which is required to do a better job. There will be a more deliberation and debate saying that why these are these five. So I would like to say that these five has helped me in my life significantly, and I will talk about it that how does this help significantly in each and everyone's career. uh, you might have been picked up something more out of it and might would like to grow further. As I mentioned, this is an evolving space. I always believe that the communication is something which you can continue to further understand. And when we say about communication, we talk about effective speaking, about your written communication, about verbal and non-verbal communication. However, when I say communication skill, it does not limit yourself to only a public speaking. And I think more and more time, everywhere we keep talking about public speaking, so just a part of it. You wanted to move ahead and ahead in your life with a career goal, you would like to take up much more than public speaking. Learning agility plays an extremely critical role. I don't think I need to explain what is the importance of learning agility right after the pandemic, right? As high as a pandemic started showing that the digital transformation which has happened currently in pharmaceutical industry probably would have taken 10 years, 10 more years to reach here, right? And I think that's where the learning agility is telling us that businesses are evolving, situation is evolving, customer understanding is evolving. Are you evolving? Are you learning a different skills? And probably therefore I would consistently say that when I'm in doing my X job, I have just entered into my role. What do? I keep learning about it. Whatever time I spent in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, keep learning. The day will be there where you get an opportunity. You wouldn't like to be at a situation where you say that, oh, I missed the opportunity, I missed the bus. Diverse experience. I spoke to you about my geographical transformation. So I've started my career from Goa, and I'm basically a Goan. Uh, and I think when I say that I'm a Goan, nobody would like to move out of Goa, right? So it's a comfortable place to be in. You be in Goa, so you feel like your job is going very well. You need not to stretch like other metro cities. Uh, take a compliant, take a lifestyle which helps you, right? And that's where the people get stuck up. If as I had a lot of aspirations about my career, I started taking a steps. My first promotion was in Bangalore. I then moved into a Tamil Nadu. I then moved into a Andhra Pradesh. I then moved into a West. I then moved into a East. I then moved into a part of a North. And I think this geography has helped me significantly. Not only that, I have been also given some of the exposures in Nepal in my one of the roles with Roche Diagnostics. I've been also been trained significantly on various aspects. How does I touch the patient's life? How do I look the business from a different angle altogether? And all of this is possible because I was ready to move. And therefore, I keep saying that when you take a career, it's not only you who contributes; it's your organizer. I was lucky enough to have a Johnson as my sponsor. Which always offered me a opportunity, always helped me significantly to deep dive and start looking into a higher positions. But at the same time, family comes into a picture, who allows you, who stands you with you, and says that yes, you can go ahead and take these positions. There is something which I would like to talk more, which is a self-awareness. I do not know how many times and how many times we rate this as a learning skill, right? A self-awareness is just such a significant skill in our professional growth that it tells you that where you are good at, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are the derailment you have. And once you know what are those behaviors of yours is actually helping you to grow versus what are your behaviors which you probably need to learn or wanted to give up. I think you can work significantly around this. And I think a self-awareness will only take you to a places when you know that this is my base level score and I would like to grow significantly in time to come. It is very easy for us to say that the organization need to offer me this. However, I am of opinion that while organization employer and employees relationship will be always handy, it is you who need to improve yourself. It is a coach versus coachee, where the coachee takes the responsibility that I need to grow. And of course, as a coach, you need to provide an environment and a training development centers where you can continue to. I would also talk about analytical skill. Uh, this topic can go as long as it is. However, I would limit myself by saying that you are somebody who can look into solution centric and then reflect back and keep looking into in your current job profile. Are you doing that? Am I restrictive myself towards a job description versus having the approach towards the solution centric? How can organization look at me from a standpoint of value addition than just doing the routine job? That takes me to my next slide that I spoke about. Johnson has given me of various opportunities. Johnson has helped me in terms of building my skills. As I said, that I can walk up to any of my mentors within Johnson transparently, and I can hear them out. They can help me up when I face with many challenges. And I probably would also like to have a glance from their experience, their knowledge, which says that how can I move further? I would also say that it also offers a lot of purpose to your life, right? A career can't be seen in terms of isolation. Career is a very big word which has a multilingual attributes attached to it. And if you wanted to move from one stick to another stick, what you would like to understand is that what are that another stakeholders is looking at, what is that you would like to groom over a period of time. So as an employee, first thing comes to a mind is that if you wanted to grow, you need to be a performer. Absolutely not possible by spending just a time in the industry will you able to grow. That never going to happen. It is the first step for you to perform and perform consistently. I would say that you need to consistently work on your skill. You need to strive towards doing better in the existing. And who gets a promotion? And I think what is the career is you come in, a new person feels that I just came in, what do I do with it? A person who is at a midpoint of it understand that I have grown one step ahead, now what? And probably the potentiality is something which will take you to a higher level. If you have a potential and an organization feels you are a potential, definitely your growth prospects are much higher. It is very important that there should not be a disconnect between the organizational goal, values, and what values you exhibit in your job profile. If there is a synergy, you will feel that the growth prospect, the satisfaction score is always on a higher side. And I would continue to say that how are you adding value to your current job role? If you continue to do this, you continue to move towards better performance, you continue to upskill your current set of skills, and thereby you showcase a higher potentiality to your employer. At an employer level, what we see is that at Johnson and Johnson, and I've been with the organization for 7 years, so what I have seen with this fabulous organization is that there's a talent identification and management. It's always a debatable that how many people can keep moving. However, it is about the opportunity and about the attitude and about the effort which employee put in along with employee. How do you develop the competencies and the skill through your training and the learning assisted programs? You can add on a lot of digital initiatives, you can add on multiple mentoring sessions, you can add on coaching session, which will continue to help you. How do you look into the provide the opportunities on a regular intervals to the employees? How do you provide a coach, mentor through a leadership is what I've experienced with Johnson. And how do you continue to create a IDP and grow the talent? And that's where the organization approach, organization culture, organization values will play a significant role in someone's career development. When we reach to a next level, it is not only because I am good. It is because my mentor have helped me. It is because my fellow colleagues have helped me to learn. It is because that daily, everyday's experience is teaching me to grow little better. And probably when I coupled this with a resources available within my organization, I started looking into a little better picture. So as I said, I would be talking around 20 to 25 minutes probably through my slide deck and talk about how did my growth happen, what did Johnson did in terms of providing a career to me, and probably this is where I would say a thank you in terms of patience listening, and then we can take this session ahead with your question answers, and if there are more challenges would like to address through my experience. Over to you, Ripa.
Thank you very much, Amit. I think you have taken us very in depth how your career journey was and what it takes for an individual and how they can come into J&J. So there were pre-feeded questions, answered few of them, and there are few more. I would hand it over to Paresh to set the question and answer moderating session. Over to you, Paresh.
Sure. Thank you, Rita. Thank you very much. Thanks, Amit, for that introduction. It was really nice for the journey that you went through at J&J. There are a few questions from our audience. I think there were a few questions previous before they actually. So first question would be, what does J&J look out for when hiring a salesperson? What are the qualities they usually look at?
Okay, so if I have to tell you the qualities, these are basically definitely your education is something which comes into handy. It's a science stream sometimes we also hire people which is in pharmaceutical also who are not from a background of a science, right? It depends on the role right now. So one is your education, second is your behavior skills. I would say that it's less on experience but more on the skill set which you showcase. For example, if I want a person in sales in specific area, if he's somebody who is a graduate or an MBA, he has a high drive for results, he has a great communication, which we can evolve, which we can work further. But more importantly, is he ready to take on the challenges? Is he somebody that is a go-getter? Is he somebody that who understand the values of organization and wanted to have a right behavior with a organization? You could be somebody who has a futuristic approach, but currently have a potential to achieve much larger growth. You would be somebody who understand the industry better. 20 years back, it was okay to come in without understanding where you are getting into, and people used to get into. However, in today's industry, you should be aware about the entire therapeutic area where you wanted to be in. What is the current challenges? So what kind of a knowledge you possess in this particular domain will also help. And as I said, it's a skill versus will. If I were to hire a person, we would definitely hire a persons for a skill, irrespective of a gender. And I would also say that probably Johnson will be the one of the great employer who will always say that it's not only about diversity, it's about the skill set. Whoever is matching the best skill set should be in. I hope that gives an answer.
Sure, thanks for that. There's a question by Ms. Vishakha. Is it essential to have prior pharma experience to get into any managerial roles, not specific sales, but any managerial roles at J&J? There's also a similar question for the sales role. I think you answered the sales part, but in general, like, is it a pharma experience mandatory to get into J&J?
It all depends on what you bring it to a table, right? I have seen with Johnson's as well as with outside pharmaceuticals, there are people who are not from a pharma background, they are now getting into a pharma stream, and they brought in a lot of insight to a table which we probably must be lacking, because they come with a different experience and maybe adding a lot of value. So if the answer to your question is the industry changing, industry is thinking that outside pharma is also somebody, if he matches the skill set of my requirement, you can get in. And there are ample of example across MNC specifically, where you will find that many people have come out from insurance. Some has went from a pharma to insurance. Some has moved from a insurance to pharma. Some has moved from a FMCG to pharma, and they are actually growing, bringing a lot of new things to the table.
Right. So the couple of questions related to as a manager, this is from Nikin Jain. As a manager, which quality and skills would you like to see develop in a subordinate working under you? And a related question is also is how important is manager's role in shaping the career of a sales guy?
My goodness, I mean that's a great question to be asked. Basically, uh, organization is at a one place, and manager is your window to look into an organization.
Right.
So manager's role is extremely critical in terms of building the trust environment. That's the first thing I would like to say. Skill, mentoring, coaching will only happen if you build a trust, right? It's not overrated if I say that the concern what you have for your family, the similar concern you will require to showcase for your team members. It's your responsibility. The manager is not the position, it's a responsibility that you need to do well, because you are responsible not only for delivering but to also change the trajectory of the people working under you. So he need to bring the trust, he need to coach the people, he need to mentor the people, but I would go step ahead and say that you need to be somebody who understands them personally and professionally. You cannot just work like a robot and say that, okay, I would like to work with the people I report into because I'm a manager. Manager is just the position. There is no hierarchical difference between you and him. You are at a high level working at a different skill set. He brings in a success to you. But unfortunately, I still see that at a ABM level, at a manager level, it's an industry across, not talking only about pharma as such, we still have a lot to evolve in this space. So as I said, as a manager, you provide environment, you bring in the best out of it, understand the strength and the weakness of a team member, bring in the natural IDP which is required, help them to grow with a more and more stakeholders. Don't just tell them that I am your manager, so you need to listen to me, right? And that's uh, such a such a approach that will never going to take you to a next level. Or even as a manager, the capability you derive, the execution what you drive will take your growth to a next step. So as a manager, this is what I would want, or probably deem that this is what as a leader you would like to drive.
Right. And as the same question by Nikin as well, I think that's Mr. What are the qualities and skills you would like to see in someone who is working with you?
So the important skill which I like to look into someone who works with too is that he should be inclusive. He should be inclusive. He should be hearing it out from everyone. He should not blow his own trumpet. I might be having 20 years of experience. I spoke about it. I need to be inclusive. I can learn from more and more people. Have an openness to learn.
Right.
Uh, have a appetite to learn newer things and challenge your status quo. So I would give you an example. If there is an increase in target, say suppose you have been given a 50% of a growth, there are few people who gets into a challenge and say that the category will grow in 10 to 20%. How do I grow 50%? Right? That's the approach with which you will go. However, you will also have a people who say that, okay, I need to grow 50%. I'm sitting here. What is that I can bring in? How can we work together? What are our resource management? How, when we do this, what is that my development will going to happen? Because higher the challenge, higher the insight, higher the growth. And probably when I work with the people is that's what I keep looking into, that what they bring into a table. I would probably say that I wanted to work with the people who has openness, who can add a lot of value, who can hear within the team and can build and travel along with the team rather than understanding that they alone are the individual contributor. And I think that's a work system and build a culture and the environment. Probably I will add one more line saying that business is never a complex, right? We say that business is complex, but it's not. We make it complex with our actions, right? Because I am somebody at a hierarchy, and I show my hierarchy on a consistent basis where people don't get opened up. What
Right.
if you create a culture where everyone look for a day to come up? You give them a purpose where they feel that they are a part of a larger vision and they continue to grow. Your objective cannot be only business. Your objective as a manager is to move your people into a next ladder. Probably everyone will not able to reach into a position, but are you making that difference to individual in terms of building their capability? How much concern you are, and therefore I say a trust environment is extremely critical for a manager. And I would like to work with a team who always bring in something more to add value to their more team members.
Sure. Thanks for that. Basically, what I hear you saying is that listening and hearing from and being open as well as learning is always critical for someone from your team. Interesting. So there's a question by Mr. Arjun. I'm currently working as ABM in an Indian company and into oncology sales. I come from one of the leading base schools in India and now consistently delivering top performance in my current role. How do I move from Indian company to an organization like J&J, but in marketing roles?
Okay, so if you're somebody, Arjun, who are already in the sales and have a great amount of experience, most often by then we keep saying that sales and marketing goes hand in hand. However, the role changes significantly from a sales to marketing. If you have a flair to move into marketing, I would only say that start building your capabilities on the marketing. You would have a great understanding about your customer, business. Probably you can also start looking at what is that marketing does, how does strategies get laid off, how does brand communication happens, how does data analytics comes into picture, what are the strategic pillars, and why marketing feels that these are the pillars. You probably need to start working your interest with building your capabilities. To your next question, that how can you look into a Johnson problem? As I said, when the opportunities comes up, it comes up with the opportunity saying that we would require an MBA, we would require essential skills 1, 2, 3, 4. However, you probably may not have that skill, but what you can bring into a table is that you are somebody who understand the market very, very well. You understand the customer insight very well, and if you can couple your current capabilities along with the marketing capabilities, as which I spoke about, probably then when you are trying to give your interviews, you will able to give that confidence to the interviewer that I am somebody who can bring in these insights, and therefore your selection can be possible. I would only say that you have a larger chance to move. Don't just get threatened from the point that data, communication, it's a different role, and don't listen to the people who discourages certain things. I would say that you create a mentor, start working on the mentor, and start creating your profile. That will help you.
Sure, thanks for that. There's a question by Mr. Abhinav Dikshit. Is it okay for a person having an experience in B2B sales in IT to apply for J&J sales role? And will there be any disadvantage for him or her because of the experience?
As I said, the J&J's philosophy is J&J look at a behavior, right? What behavior you exhibit, what skills you have, rather than what background you have. For example, I am perfectly okay with someone coming with a great zeal and ability to understand and say that, hey, look, I understand that I wanted to be a part of a sales, but how can you map me without giving me opportunity? Now that's where, if you are somebody who looks into a stretch mentality, who are ready to slog in the market, who are ready to, who gives you a, who you are somebody who are trying to bring in, a customer connect. And I think if these values are attracting you, I think, and if you exhibit those qualities in your interviews, I think there is no reason why we shouldn't be saying that you don't have a specific experience related with that particular domain, right? And I mean it. I'm seeing that in Johnson and Johnson, somebody from an engineering coming up gets into the MBA, becomes product manager, and keeps moving. Somebody from consumer is moving into pharma, somebody from pharma moving into consumer. But this is within Johnson and Johnson. Outside person, why not? If he is having the right set of skills, I don't see a challenge why J&J won't offer you the job which you are looking for.
Sure, thanks for that. There's a question from Rahul. Kanchandani, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. What are the major challenges when one moves from a frontline to a people management role, especially in sales?
Okay, that's a great question. Again, one need to understand that till now he was doing an individual contributor role and he was contributing. Then he wanted to understand that his role is changing, that he needs to get the work done from the people, right? It is very simple to talk, but it's very difficult to understand. The people keep moving the shift from the sales position to a manager position, but they don't wanted to let go their situations, and that's where the challenge is. So when this transition happens, you need to understand that you have given the opportunity to work through the people and get your result done, and it's not a vice versa. Secondly, while you work with the people, it itself tells you that working with the people needs you to hear people, right? You need to understand the people's psychology, you need to understand the challenges they face, because in field the challenges are much different than what can be spoken in the boardroom. Yeah, 8 by 8 boardroom or a office can always define a strategy. The strategies will be rolled out by your people. You need to maximize their strength to take this to a next level. You just cannot achieve 500 customer satisfaction, and therefore there is a team to do that. So never get into their role. First and foremost, help them to encourage them to look beyond. As I said, create that environment where everybody will feel safe, everybody will feel they can be inclusive, everybody can be heard of. For example, I am a manager, I wanted to achieve something, and you keep giving a direction to the people. That's not what is expected out of you. You achieve your results through your team. Where is that inclusiveness from your end? It could be a smallest thing, but more and more you reiterate on this, you get into a coaching session. Your job is moving from telling mode to asking right question, and asking right question is a art, and that happens when you have a trust. Think about a person whom you become a manager and start asking a question. He will leave the job immediately. You haven't understood the job, because that trust environment should come up. He should understand, why are you asking a job, what is in it for him to move, how do he move into a next level, how do you are being this facilitation done, where he sees that this person comes and works with me, gives me an order, but this person is very interested in me to develop my skill career. He is somebody who helps me to earn incentive. He's somebody to help me understand the recognition. He's somebody who comes to me for a solutions. And that's where the job of a manager becomes very, very enriching, rather than just a textbook job which says that, okay, you are a supervisor, you have to achieve the accountability. It's a what part and a how part job, and it's a why part job. In Indian pharmaceutical industry, we keep speaking about what and how, but I think it's a time that we look at why we are doing.
Sure, sure. That was a nice answer specifically. And I look out for, basically you're specifically mentioning that it's more of a leadership, and I see those insights specifically coming from you. Thank you very much for that. There's a question by Preeti. Again, it's a more specific to the person. I am currently in healthcare and fitness company based in Bangalore with B2C sales profile. How can I switch to J&J sales? Is B2C sales experience considered for J&J?
So the answer is that sales is sales.
Yeah.
I would only say that build your capabilities, build your experience. If you wanted to work with J&J, it's a great house, as I keep saying. J&J offers what others, very few companies can offer. I can tell you that with a lot of pride. And the reason I'm saying that is that J&J allows you to take a calculated risk. J&J allows you to experiment. J&J stands with you when you fail, right? And I think these are the great qualities which only very few organizations can deliver. And it is not because I am with J&J I'm saying this, right? In my 7 years, I have been failed multiple times. The journey will never have the only successes. I have tested failures, and while I have tested my failures, J&J stood with me. My team stood with me like a rock solid bottom. And I think the point you are asking me, that the sales is sale. If you wanted to shift from a B2B or a B2C, understand it's a human to human sales. B2B, B2C, and probably some more nomenclature will come into a picture. but it's end of the day ability to connect to a customer, providing the solution which probably others are not able to do that. And if you are somebody who can bridge this gap between the customer, his needs, so healthcare industry probably stands like this. There is a HCP, healthcare practitioner, there is a patient, there is you as an organization, and within this triangle there are many things which happens, extremely many things. It becomes a complex at times. So as a salesperson, that healthcare practitioner expect you to be a much different than the other organization and talk about patient journey, talk about the product attributes, talk about industry, talk about something which can help him to take a right decision. And if you are someone who are building these capabilities on a regular basis and wanted to come up with a Johnson and Johnson, probably your skill set can be looked at.
Sure, thanks for that. There's a follow-up question, and there are a couple of questions related to that. Now, is like how much work experience is required to join the sales team? And there are also questions related to how as a fresher or someone who is just graduating can start a sales career. So maybe together we could answer that.
So various leaders have a various philosophy. Nothing can fix everyone's thought process. I would tell you from my standpoint what I feel. I feel experience is good to have. Sometimes domain experience is always helpful. Say suppose I lead diabetes management as a team. I would definitely look at, sometimes depending on my business proposition, sometimes looking into a market situation, I would like to move towards the people who bring in an experience. But I have a team members, quite a few, in terms of say 10 to 20% of my team members have been hired at a freshers. The only reason I have hired them is because they brought in a lot of insights than my experienced people. So how do I club experienced people? How do I club a new people and look at my ecosystem, which can help me to grow significantly, because they can bring in a lot of new prospects. Now to your question that how much experience in specific years, I'm of a opinion that year doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't matter where I'm sitting. Probably in 20 years, some great mind can sit in probably 7 or 8 years. I probably need to have the humility to learn from him or her and start thinking that how can I improve my horizon. Similarly, if you are somebody who are very, very strong in your understanding about the industry, about the capabilities, about the skill which is required, you will crack it either today or tomorrow with the right organization. It's all about what you bring into the table. You would have seen that when I speak, probably you will understand that it's not over the fence, right? Probably when you live with it, as we continue to say that a diabetes patient continue to live with diabetes, so they understand the challenges. When you live with those values, when you live with those experiences, when you live with your desire to get into, probably that's where you will able to score much higher. And then probably me or better than me, there are many industry gurus who can help you in terms of taking your career into a right shape.
Sure. So there's a question by again Nikin Jain, and then there's a similar question as well from Ankit. The question is, during this pandemic, what are the changes you saw in the pharma sales? What are the best practices you adopted? And a similar question related to that is there was a question that is pharma sales field sales or inside sales? Like how did you adapt to a field sales role specifically during the pharma?
That's a great question. I was on one of the panel recently with Apple, and Apple was asking this question to us, to all the panelists, saying that what are the changes? And I was hearing some of the managing directors, some of the Asia Pacific leaders a couple of months back, and that has given me a more and more insight apart from what I have seen. So here it goes. What we have seen in pharmaceutical industry is the complete shift to the online management in a significant manner. So 1mg, PharmEasy, Amazon is trying to enter. So till then probably a Tata merger with 1mg clearly tells you that the behavior pattern of a customer is changing. Having said that, India comprises of a retail chain, and then there is a digital chain. I'm of opinion that both need to be survived. It shouldn't be retail goes completely out and digital takes over. No, absolutely not. There are a lot of people survive on the retail management, And it also has plus of having the retail medical stores versus online management. What we have seen in pharma is that digital was consistently spoken in pharma, but never been tested in pharma. This pandemic has forced pharmaceutical industry to only and only think about digital transitions. Digital is not a marketing. Digital is just the medium. Behavior of a customer started changing in this specific terms, that I start ordering my products from a 1mg PharmEasy, from MedPlus or Medibees or the centers which continue to offer a more discounts and also give me a quick services. And this is where it started in from a value buying process. So that space definitely is evolving. At a HCP level, at a healthcare practitioner level, they used to see a patients physically. They started understanding the importance of the e-visits, where they can connect with the people digitally and can start having a diagnosis. This tribe is still remain, and even after the pandemic, this tribe will remain. How much contribution it will have? 100% face-to-face consultation versus digital consultation. Probably, I would say that it will evolve towards 15 to 20% in next 1 or 2 years, and maybe 30 to 35% as per the some of the reports which I am going through right now. So digital is, yes, moving significantly. I spoke about the customer. I spoke about the healthcare practitioner who has seen this change. Now, what about the sales team members? Yes, the different skill set has been required to connect the people on digital platform, whether it is a Viva Connect or whether it is speaking to a HCP and telling him that why your 2 minutes are required. And it's very different than the face-to-face. So face-to-face, a representative stands out of the clinic and there are 50 representatives standing there. He probably, doctor has a compulsion to see you, right? But on Viva or a digital platform, he doesn't have a compulsion to see you. You need to add value to him. You need to be different than the approach. Your objective need to be very, very clear. And till then, the getting him on the digital platform is very difficult. Now you have been asked to get into some of the situations where you need a different skill altogether. And therefore, the pharma industry then started evolving around the digital transformation. And probably I would say that now we use this to understand that how do we manage a frequency. When I say frequency, if I have to meet some customer at 3 times or 4 times, how do I ensure the omni-channel communication comes into that? I can go 1 or 2 times face to face, 1 or 2 times, how can leverage his time and talk about my brand, get into a discussions through a digital platform. And so therefore, there is a significant change in this process. Lastly, some of the organizations itself are transitioning supply chain model itself through digital. So I was just reading some of the newspaper and heard that Mankind has been completely been transformed on a supply chain from Accenture itself. It's a big transition because Indian organizations are also growing significantly. At Johnson, we do a lot of digital transformation in terms of using the AI to our data, understand that how do we look into the insight, how do we bring in a lot of other channels where the digital medium can help us to reach omni-channel communication to a customer. So as I said, for each segment, healthcare, buying, customer, organization, it's an evolving space, and probably everyone is spending their time, resources to understand that how do we leverage this. And therefore, in my one of the slide, I said probably the sales team members who comes with a probably MBAs, understand their capabilities well, B2B or a B2C experience can become very, very handy. And therefore, it will no longer remain a domain specific TA, therapeutic areas, or a business. It is a multi-language, it is a multi-experience behavior business which will come and evolve over a period of time.
Sure. Thank you very much for that, Amit. I think we are end of the session. It's almost 11 o'clock. There are a few questions left, but I think we'll not be able to take them. So any quick last words for anyone who is aspiring to get into J&J? What are two words for them, and then we will hand over it to Ripa for the end of the session.
I would only say that getting into a J&J is a great aspirations one should have, because you have an employer who offers you a culture, who offers you opportunity, who is looking for a diversity, equitability, inclusion on a regular basis, I would only say that keep applying, keep looking into a window where you can continue to build your skill level. Again, I would like to say that take the career planning from a different angle. Do not ask if you get stuck up somewhere in your career. Just don't go to somebody and say that I am stuck up. He would also going to tell you this, that yes, this happens. Rather, take a different approach altogether. Start thinking what are your self-awareness skill set where you are, and how do you continue to move. So probably if I have to leave you with, I would say that your self-development ability of learning agility, self-awareness, and bringing those skills which is required for a specific job function will bring in a lot to your overall.
Sure. Thank you very much, Amit. Ripa, over to you.
Thank you very much, Amit and Paresh, for this moderating. And I think people now would have got an idea why J&J and how they can build their career in J&J and what specifics we are looking in J&J if you are looking for career in J&J. So thanks for your time, everybody, the Sunday morning. And thank you, Amit, especially to you, to share each and everything in so depth that it has also not only helped others, it has helped me as well as an individual to understand how I can get into a next career step now and what I should be doing it. So I believe everybody else would have also got an idea about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ripa.
Thank you, Ripa. So thank you everyone for joining this session. We shared a feedback link in the chat as well. Please do share the feedback about the session and anything that you would like to know. And also shared an email address to which you can write if you would want to join the sales team, especially in the pharma with J&J. Looking forward to interact with you. Thank you very much for the session. Signing off.
Thank you.